I just hope everybody can hear us. We will start in about 1 minute 30 seconds. So if anybody just kind of give us a thumbs up if our sound is good. If it's not good, please let us know, or just tell us. Just throw a comment in the comment section, please. That'll be brilliant. So we can actually see what the hell is going on. So it's going to sort of back and back first, and you can't go. So, I think that it's a process, and It's niet dying. Go down. Okay. Let's see. Okay, let's go. Let's do a second. People like message us or something if we stuffing this up. My phone is right over there. Problematic, right? Okay, so Lefty, welcome. We're in my fake made-up studio. We're actually in my garage, so good for everybody out there. But I thought it was a good idea to kind of like set it up and start having conversations about mountain bikes. I'm a keen mountain biker, Shaun Slabber. How's it, everybody? Welcome to my YouTube channel. We'll probably shift this to another channel at some point. We're still figuring things out a little bit, but I thought let's get things kicking off. It's a new year, new start. And I've invited Dr. Lefty, and I thought it would be good to kind of like start kicking it off with actually just understanding what is important on a mountain bike and what is not. We all too often ride with loads and loads of tools with us and no bloody idea what to do with them. And I think the one other thing that someone said is like, Shaun, are you guys actually going to tell us how to use it? And I went like, yeah, we'll probably explain how to do it. We're not going to strip tires and wheels and everything else, but we'll certainly have a conversation about it. But I think the conversation is really, what are the three things we need? But Lefty, before we really dive into it, why don't we just give yourself a bit of introduction?
My name is Andrew, aka Dr. Lefty. So I own a boutique workshop in the Edenville area. I've been keen on cycling for a very long time, love it, and it just became a passion and a career from there. So here we are. And I've built most of these bikes actually.
So I think something that not everybody necessarily knows that don't know you. You're also a keen runner, less so at the moment. Do you want to tell us a little bit more about what happened with your leg? Or is that a story for another drink?
Keep it short and simple. There was alcohol involved, there was running involved. So let's leave it at that for now.
Okay, but for those that don't know, Lefty's very quietly ran a couple of marathons, a couple of comrades. And I said one day when he wants to run a really slow one, what is one of those? I want to say slow ones, they're actually bloody anything slow. But what is it? I'm trying to think, which one is it?
That's the comment. You got 12 hours.
Yeah, but I mean, what is the medal that you get for basically just finishing in time?
I don't know.
What's it?
I don't know what it's called.
Like the between the 12-hour and 11 hours, somewhere there's the colored medals and sealed anyway. So one day when I go run that, you will come run that with me and get to finish with me. Okay, excellent. So, okay, long story short, the three most needed tools when you go out on a ride, we're just going to talk about that. Lefty's kind of brought a couple of things with them. And I think sneakily there's a whole subsection down here, which you guys can't necessarily see, but I think, Lefty, all too often we go out, we go ride, we go like muck about, and we get stranded next to the road. Flat tire, chain, a derailleur, something, etc. There's like an array of things. But what is before we get into what are the three tools that you need? Because I mean, there's bare minimum that you need to take with you when you go for a ride. But before we really get into that, what what are the three things that most often happen to riders when they go out? Probably going to happen.
And so obviously it's going to be, most of the time it will be puncture.
Yeah.
So I'd say a decent multi-tool.
Yeah.
And a decent inflation device.
Okay.
That's probably the three main or most important things. Most of the roadside incidents can be prevented by decent maintenance, taking care of your bike properly, cleaning it properly, lubing the chain properly. That's why I actually got a decent video just to show people to have a look around. But for the basics,
block is soap within my house. I was smelling. I thought I was going to need to have a shower soon. But okay. So you saying punches are kind of one of the things that we need to really kind of like, that's a regular thing. And but most of us got tubeless tires, right? Most of us.
Still get a puncture.
You're still going to get a puncture, but I mean, like the problem solved, and I'm going to use. We had a ride on Sunday as a really good example with the Club 100 guys. The mountain bikers, we went out from Bidon Bistro out into the Makhali side of the universe, and one of the riders' gadget just literally was coming around the corner up the hill, and literally his tires just went bald, nothing. So on further inspection, and David Perry, if anybody's watching, was him, also known as Gadget. But effectively, he didn't have enough slime in his tire, tubeless tire, and you kind of go, that was a big issue. And it actually didn't seal properly when you try to reinflate it, so we actually had to put a tube in. So, kind of considering that, you would say the three things that you definitely need, or rather, flat tires are probably the most obvious thing that happen out there. What would you say is the other two that most often happen to people when they're out on a ride?
So I'd say these are multi-tool tire loops, obviously, and then a chain tool.
Okay. So you're saying chains break more often. Yeah. So if we say, sorry, there might be some rough language in here sometimes, accidentally, of course. But if we say, what are the three things that actually happens? It goes wrong. So we say, fine, flat tires. Is it chain brakes or is it cable brakes? What is kind of like the other thing that you most often hear that went wrong on a ride? So mountain bike.
You also got to be careful though, because a lot of people, you can give them all the tools, but if something happens on the road and they don't know how to use it, it's useless. Okay. That's why at least if you've got a decent repair kit and someone else comes along, at least they can help you out. But like I said, for the most, see them with your flat wheel, might be a chain braking, like a gear setting issue, you can sort of figure out along the way in any case. Okay. But if something you can adjust, it's fine. But if something that breaks, obviously it's a completely different issue altogether. Okay. So definitely chain, punches, and then that's one of the biggest items. Okay,
chain punches, etc. Yeah. Okay, so I can certainly say from my perspective, I think most of the things that certainly happened to me is I've had a lot of punches, and I tend to carry a little pouch with me with a whole bunch of stuff in it. Half the time I don't actually know how to genuinely use it. But actually, nobody actually sits down and actually teaches us how to use these things. They're just going to go like, you need this, and you walk out of the store with like 2,500 rands worth of stuff. You go like, you need a chain brake and you need this multi-tool, but like genuinely, I don't think a lot of people actually know how to use them. So if we're going to say flat tire is one of the big things that we want to do, and we have a chain brake and kind of gear setting is the most obvious thing that go wrong, we then have to say, okay, right, what is the bare necessity tools that we then need to take? So let's start off with, what are the bare necessity tools that we need to take with us, in your opinion, of course?
So I'm going to sort of lay out what I've got here, probably the easiest and simplest, and I'll everyone can see.
Flash it around.
So I ride a Cannondale, so they're specifically made for Cannondale. You do get different design line products to make something goes into the crankset, but this is very compact, very simple, very cool.
What does it go in the handlebar?
Yeah. So
okay, that's pretty rad. Okay.
So you've got your two tire levers. Just like that, nice, simple, easy. You actually got a built-in chain breaker. That screws in that, then screws the pin out. So it's nice, simple, easy as that.
Okay.
All your normal Allen key bits and T25 bits. Most bikes are coming out, especially the squads, with more T25s or T bits than normal Allen key bits. So you just want to make sure. Now you usually got a full Allen key kit, but your bike actually runs a T system on it.
Okay, so you saying this here, just like consider if you're riding a Scott or a Cannondale or a Trek or something, you actually need maybe different tools more specific to each of those. Wow, it just gets into a fucking into a royal mess, right? Like the more kind of like bikes out there, the more different tools. So you actually really also got to consider kind of the bike that you ride. So if it's a trek, you got to go. But there is generic tools.
Yeah.
So I mean, like for argument's sake, a chain brake is a chain breaker, right?
Yeah, it's kind of like the Auto on Ferrari. So yes, it's chain breaker, but keep in mind you only use it for 3 months, 6 months, because a lot of times what happens, you put it in a tubby bag or go in the air tube. Like you can see, this is quite old, so it's starting to rust. A lot of times you have to glue, so by the time you need it, there's pieces all over the place.
Oh, mine is just rusted in pieces. I don't even know. Like, I took one out the other day and I just looked at it and went like, wow, this thing is finished. There's nothing left of it. Okay, so obviously,
Cool.
multi-tool.
Yeah, so definitely what I would suggest is a lot of times, although it might not be brand specific, like Specialized makes a nice toolkit for Specialized bikes, for their frame geometries. Canadell made theirs as well. Scott makes a very nice Synchros product that actually goes under the bottle cage as well.
Okay.
So like smart storage is becoming a big thing at the moment. So
Tigers obviously don't need tools because we don't break down.
You've got good mechanics.
Oh, there you go.
So that'll take care of your basic multi-tool.
Okay, cool.
These days, all chains are joined by speed links. Sometimes something will happen to that. So
Okay, hang on, whoa. Speed link. Let's start there. What the hell is a speed link?
Okay, cool. So in the old days, the chain was joined with a pin.
Okay. So that's the two kind of bibby bulbs, and then there's a pin.
Yeah, which is break it off.
Okay, cool.
So for the sake of convenience, well, I'll assume that's what I it. It's actually a speed link based two links that pushes and clips into each other.
Okay.
However, most of them you can't undo them by hand. A few times I had inside the road about to undo it, and you sit and you swear. Like they show you all this on YouTube tricks where you like take a rock or something and you hit it on the chain link. It doesn't work on all brands. It works on a KMC and it doesn't work on a SRAM.
Okay.
I guess I don't know what that
fair enough.
So a normal chain link pliers is probably about double this size.
Yeah.
This is actually specifically made to go into your little tubby bag. Once again, you get different manufacturers.
Yeah.
This is just something from Wolftooth basically. What makes it quite neat is also it acts as a tie lever.
Yeah.
And you can actually put your spare links in there.
Okay, cool.
So it's simple, easy, doesn't take a lot of strength.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Thanks for
excellent.
everybody.
So we need a chain link thingamajiggy.
Yeah.
Okay, what is it actually called? What type of brands are there out there?
So it depends on the size that you want to carry with. So obviously you can't
What
carry
do
the
you mean?
full version.
Less than like what size?
That is nice. To me, like there's a few brands, but I think Lazard
Okay.
makes a nice one like that as well, though.
So actually, hang on a second. It actually comes inside this little tool over here. You guys can probably not necessarily see it, but the tool and inside is actually the links. I'm assuming is sitting in there. Okay, cool.
And you just make sure, please, if you ride a 12-speed chain and you change bikes or change group sets, make sure there's 12-speed links in your chain.
Okay, well, explain to everybody. Like some of us, like me, I just like, oh, I have a bicycle with a spinny thing and I just pedal and I ride, right? And then you go 11 speed, 11 and 12 speed.
Big difference. 10 speed, big difference. A lot of times guys will upgrade the bikes or the componentry or something, but they don't upgrade their toolkits. So a 12-speed chain link is different to 11-speed chain link and 10-speed one. So just make sure.
Okay.
If you've got a 12-speed chain in your bike, there must be a 12-speed chain.
I can see this like going out of the shop as now increases $3 grand there. So
you've got to eat some.
each for a bike, right? Okay, cool. So obviously making sure chain link is very important.
Yeah.
Chain tool, clearly.
Yeah.
And then obviously getting the right links for your 10, 12, 11 speed bike. Okay.
Correct.
Cool. What else do we need in our lives?
Okay, cool. So this is probably not a matter of life or death. Well, probably easy your bike is worth more than 100 grand. Obviously, to make everything lighter, everything's more carbon fiber, everything's oversized, but thinner. So
We're not road cyclists, we're mountain bikers. Okay, no, I'm joking.
Just
No, it's like it's all alley, man, all alley.
So this is quite a nifty.
There's a plastic one down this side, but that's not the point.
It's quite a nifty little tool. It's actually a contact torque wrench made by Design again. So what I'm finding the best use for this, a lot of times if you travel, so you have to take the stem off, you take the seat post up.
Okay.
Most of those torque settings only up to 6 meters, maybe 8 meters, give or take. It's small, it's compact, actually right with this guy.
Okay, so hang on a second. So you're saying what is the torque that we need to torque it to?
So it depends from bike to bike, but somewhere between 4 and 8. Give or take.
4 and 8, okay.
It's got all your normal bits on it. So a lot of times this is something you buy just throw in your travel case, like your 2D case, if you want to buy one, gooi it in, at least you get wherever you go, you know you've got the right tools.
Okay.
Also it's decent quality, so you're not going to round the bolts of the nuts.
Okay.
or the heads of the bolt, excuse me. So simple, easy, compact, out the way.
Okay.
Shaun.
Right.
Otherwise, if you strip a bolt, now you overseas somewhere or at an event somewhere, you can't
We're not that fancy, we just go local. We're going from Joburg down to Benoni in the south. We're going to go ride bicycles there. Oh, there you go. Okay, so, but not necessarily when I'm out on the trails. I mean, I'm literally I'm rocking up there for a ride.
That should be your guy.
Okay.
Something similar.
And then obviously the chain breaker and what else?
So this is not necessarily, I would deem as a tool.
Yeah.
But this has gotten me home probably more than Uber in the past 2 years.
Oh, so you've admitted that you've taken an Uber.
Duct tape and cable ties.
Cool.
There's nothing that these two guys can't fix except a broken chain, basically.
Okay.
So every tubby bag, a little bit of duct tape. Some guys will put it around the seat post a few rolls. So if you need it, you've got it. Especially on the long events, it comes in very handy.
Yeah.
Obviously, the cable ties the same story.
Okay. Cool. So give me an example of where you've used it before.
So we've had cases where the hanger would bend or break, so you can actually tie the hanger. Look, obviously, it's a bodge job to get you
100%.
End of story, basically.
Okay.
But there's a lot of cases where like duct tape would help you, or the cable ties will get you back.
Okay.
So on the inside of the tire, sometimes helps. You can put that, if it's a big cut on the inside of the tire, then you put the tube behind it as well.
Like a sidewalk care kind of scenario, stick it in there. So, yeah, because I mean, I was taught many yonks ago that a 10 rand note is your best friend, always carry it in there. But that's quite an expensive little sidewalk tape. Duct tape sounds like a better idea.
As a mark shop, we love it because nobody else will do 20 bucks back then.
Oh, then it's fair, right? That's a good point, right? I will make a mental note of that. But it's something kind of interesting. So one of the guys on the Sunday ride, so we're setting up, we went through the little grass kind of area, out in the cradle of the grass farm, up the hill towards Robert Broom, whatever it is, Krugersdorp Airport, International Airport. Anyway, but while we were busy fixing Gadget's tire, he actually said he went to a bicycle shop, not to be named, but while he was on his ride, he had a flat tire, and how he sorted it out, they actually put it, and he had a tube inside at that point. He actually tied a knot between two sides, and then just stuck it back in, inflated it, and off he went. So funny story is he, on Monday, took the bike to the shop, went through the motions, got the bike back. For the next 3 months, he was riding his bike all happy. Paid them literally for a tube change and everything else. And 3 months later, he got a flat tire. Same wheel. So he opens it. True's nuts. What's inside? Not a tube.
It wasn't me, was it?
Wasn't you. But like that's a real thing that happens. So I think, that's just a random kind of side note. But there is ways and means of fixing a tube if you're out of the middle of nowhere, because that's usually like your fallback. And especially these days with everybody having tubeless tires. So either if the plug doesn't work, out comes a tube. So the tube is the other thing, obviously, that is quite important. Take this on the ride. So we've got a multi-tool, which is really important. The torque range, I reckon, is mostly important for traveling.
Yeah.
So not necessarily when I ride on trail day when I'm out there. The chain breaker is critical. Duct tape, yeah.
Just to come back to your tube comment, please, when you got to put the tube in, just make sure there's no thorns, because otherwise, a lot of guys just put it in, don't check if there's any thorns, anything protruding bits in the tires. Just always want to double check it.
So basically, just stick your hands in. I mean, it's always a bloody, like, especially if you have the tubeless stuff in there. Mother Nature doesn't really appreciate it when you dump all of your fluid next to the road there, or the trail rather. But effectively, you've just got to like stick your fingers in there and actually just feel everything all the way around and see if there's anything in there, right? Okay, so I mean that has happened. On those days when I used to ride road bikes many years ago. Very distant memory, can't even remember it. But that was one of the big issues that most of the guys had, was literally piece of thorn glass stuck in there. I think that's actually critical to you. But that's kind of just next to the trail, just have a rub around, check the walls, check the tire, and when you're sticking a tube in there, just get that sorted out. Okay, because that is obviously a fucking huge pain in the ass. So, right, okay, so
my next tip would be, So as an inflation device, look, I'm a bit older. It's like these things probably came out when I've been cycling for 10 years already. I've seen lots of guys buy the fanciest tools and that on the side of the road. They pull it all out. 3 bombs later, we're still standing there because God has no idea how they release it to. So whatever you buy, go test it once.
Yeah.
Take it home. Like I prefer the simple. I know there's much fancier versions out there. I prefer the simple, easy to regulate, easy to put on, easy to take off. Once you just put it on, then once you press it, it activates. Then if you put it in the wrong place, there goes your bomb, and you swing like a sailor. So test your stuff before you go out on a ride. I know very few of us do it. Like I've still did it before now. I don't know what I'm doing this. So yeah. But you can test the stuff, and sometimes simpler actually is better.
Okay, so question, because this is something that happened regularly, because I had exactly the same one, and what I did was I took that thing and I flung it into the bush as far as humanly possible. Because what tends to happen is like, obviously you turn it in, you kind of like just pierce the lid a bit, obviously it's closed, and then you screw the little orangey bit onto your valve, and then you open that thing. And then obviously everything freezes over. And then happily you sit there and you untie this thing, and all of a sudden with it comes your valve core. Now, that has happened more than once, multiple times, which ended up me buying the specific brand, the linen ones, which is basically the press and kind of like you press it and it just goes. Don't ask me how it works necessarily, but that really, but a lot of people ride around with that exact same one that you have. It's actually quite popular if you go look at what is in people's little kind of bags, what do they want to call it, saddle bags, etc. How do you prevent that from happening? Because that just drove me bananas.
So in theory, in the perfect world, you or your bike shop should just make sure the valve core is actually tight before you put it on.
Okay.
When you put it on, when you pump your wheels, whatever.
Yeah.
So it's happened to me before, so this is like the pot calling the kettle black here, but the best is just make sure the core is nice and tight. That's it. That's literally the only thing. You don't need to bang that thing fast.
Okay.
But obviously, as you say, because as it's getting cold, it's actually going to bite onto it as well.
Correct.
Yeah.
I mean, I ended up like squirting my bottle on it to defrost the damn thing and all kinds of other stuff. And even that sometimes didn't work. So, and that is probably one of the most disheartening things. You're in a race and you kind of like pedal your little heart out. You are 550th from the front. You're like, definitely not riding for podium, but you want to really get the bloody race done. And then that happens to you.
And there's bomb number lost.
And then it's like, those 3 bombs that you carry because you're like so minimalist, you're like an absolute legend, and all of this thing. You've got 3 other oaks coming past you and girls and you ask them for bombs, and like you basically just end up being a complete idiot who can't use it. So I certainly just moved away from the screw-on version of it to the press-on to avoid that. So
Teach you know, good experience.
100%.
My issue with the press on ones with more times the little O-ring pop out.
Okay.
So I've donated also a few of those adapters to
Okay.
the great elders as well.
There we go. Okay. Yeah, because I think, and I don't know what it is necessarily, because like literally that, it just gets stuck and you pull that thing and trust me, you can tighten that little cord till you're blue in the bloody face. If that thing wants to come out, it's coming out.
Just a little bit. With love. Talk a little bit. 24 liters, not 20 liters in the middle.
Yeah, but talk the bloody thing to 8 and then we don't have to sort of worry about it. Okay, cool. Okay, so I think that to me, that little inflate in the bomb is probably kind of mission critical in my universe with a kind of multi-tool. I can almost say that I very rarely cycle with the chain links, if ever. But it's probably something that I need to like start packing. Unlike somebody says, like, do they know that Lefty actually never rides with anything?
That's a once in a while. I think it was a thing. Sometimes run stuff. Depends on what time of the morning you're planning for a ride.
Okay.
5 o'clock times I'm going to show up with 1 shoe. So.
That is fair. Most days I ride with 1 shoe. We've got a club member who regularly arrives Rumor has it, on the last ride, she left the house, and about halfway, she should know who she is. She's probably not watching YouTube. She's not a big YouTube fan or watcher, but she certainly arrived not at the club ride, but like realized halfway, or at least like halfway down the road, that she doesn't have a bicycle with her. So that is like a whole different kettle of fish. Anyways, okay. So tool, chain link, and chain tool. And a basically way of inflating the tires.
Yep. And so that'll be my starters.
So that would be the 3 critical things. Okay. Now, obviously, you've got an array of other stuff that's lying around here with all kinds of fancy other things. This, I'm seeing some weird stuff that I don't understand. I've actually never seen in my life, to be very frank. So, what is this bar of soap stuff? What is it? So let's talk about chain loops first, quickly. Because obviously it's one of those weird things that like we don't necessarily like lube our chains efficiently, and there's different things for winter and summertime, etc. We're now in summer, so it's quite wet. What is the suggestion?
So generally speaking, it depends. Almost want to say what you want to spend as well. Why I brought the wax is a lot of the bikes are going that way.
Not for your head, we know that.
It's a bit thinner, it's a bit more efficient than that.
Okay.
On the mountain bike, the jury is more up. On the gravel side, it looks lovely. On the road bike side, it looks
This is
lovely.
the stuff here.
Yeah. So it's your basic wax blocks. Like this is made by Rex, which we actually sell. And
But hang on a second, how does this work? What do you
melt it,
do?
I'm just explaining to you now. So you get different ratios. So you actually melt it. Your wife's on if you use a high pressure cooker or a pot. So we actually clean the chain, put it in, melt the blocks. You need different ratios. You do a 4:1 ratio or 5:1 ratio.
Wait, you need 4 blocks to
No,
1 pot?
No, 1 block to 1 divorce.
What is that?
So that's the actual feed block.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's what's actually preventing most of the wear. That's more like your transporting agent for like
Okay.
description.
So this is graphene.
Yeah.
And you want me to melt this in a pot in my wife's kitchen?
You'll be surprised how many times do it.
I'll be surprised how many times I'll still alive after doing that. Bloody hell. Okay, and then like you do like 1 of these and 4 of them.
Yeah, so that's obviously there's numerous applications in that. That's brought to what you can actually see. But like I said, that's
For those that's wondering, this is literally like a block of wax. So, but okay, I'm going to be very honest with you. Right, so now I've boiled it down to this 1:4 ratio. 1 graphene and 4 of these little blocks. Then what?
Then you put your chain in there.
You put your chain in the same pot, right? Yeah. Okay.
Then there's no more eating out your block for a while.
That's okay.
And then you hang it, let it dry, and then just put the chain back on again. That's it.
Okay, but like for how long does that last?
Depends on the conditions. That's what I say. On the road bike, it's amazing. Like most of the Pro Tour teams last year was on racing. Understand?
Okay.
Probably not the
I don't care about road bikes. Why are we talking about road bikes? I'm joking. Okay.
Gravel.
Yeah. Gravel bikes, I can actually see there's quite a kind of like a big thing for the gravel bikes, I reckon.
Yeah. Mountain bikes, I'm still deciding myself that because on some applications it worked better than any of the loops that I've used before.
Yeah.
On some applications it didn't. So I'm still a bit on the fence there as well. I've got quite a few clients that we're actually testing this stuff on now.
Okay.
Different riding styles, different weather conditions, different age of the product as well though.
So I need to see up on me, like, it's like you're likely going to be super, like either super dry or like bucketing down. And you don't necessarily want to mix it too kind of like on a, let's say on a wet kind of like weather kind of ride.
Yeah.
So you got this like wax stuff on now. Do you then add other stuff on top of that?
So on that, it does come with a lube that you can actually apply with the wax as well.
Okay, I can see
We have
this.
thought about this.
Okay, so for the rest of us that is definitely not going to use our pot in the kitchen. Some of us might be using our wife's pot, and others like me, I'm going to use my pots, which I won't be doing. But what other options are there? I mean, literally, for the normal guy, Joe Public, that is not going to put his chain in a pot.
Yeah.
That sounds to me a bit excessive, to be quite frank.
So I would say, general South African conditions, your wax-based lubes tend to work the best.
Okay.
Like your wet lubes makes the chain beautiful and smooth, super quiet, but it becomes a bit of a messy business. If you get a punch in, by the time you're done, you black up to you basically.
Okay.
So I would generally lean towards a wax lube.
Okay.
Local brands as well, though, like Squirt and Smooth. Now, I know some people are going to try and crucify me for this, but on very dry, dusty conditions, sometimes actually it's better than most international brands for some bizarre reason.
I would love local. Local's lekker. I love supporting local businesses.
So I must say, like, a lot of the events you get there, and that's the brand that sponsors the event.
Yeah.
And their wax-based do seem to work quite well for our conditions.
Okay. Cool. So I have in the past really enjoyed using oil-based, but then it would have been mostly on way back when on the other bikes that I used to not ride anymore. But I got to be honest, I think the wax-based kind of stuff certainly does the trick. Now, funny story, Lynn has got quite a cool product, which is the one with the little kind of, got a little rubber sleeve in it, and you stick it on. What is actually in there? Is that weight-based or?
I'm not sure. I'm not talking about it.
It's yellow. How about that? I've got a pot of it somewhere over there. There, actually, it's right over there.
Probably wax-based.
So, but yeah, I mean, I think that is quite cool. Because that is quite interesting. So, and I think it's quite an ingenious little. It's called rider. So,
Is it the red one?
yeah, that's it. So that's the stuff. But I mean, like you look at that, and that's quite a cool tool. And I think it's like there's actually a rubber missing. So
I can see you've lost yours too. I've tried it.
which is like the kind of downfall to it, right? I mean, like that's the rubbish part of the product, to be quite frank. Is that actually it does this, and it's quite great. You stick it on, you run the chain, and it actually works really well. But ultimately, you lose the little kind of grey section that fits in there, and then you just use stuff. To be honest, and like, I've got two of these with none of that, and you kind of unscrew it and then pour it over into something else. But this seems to be working fairly well. It's a wax base. Okay, no wonder. Okay, so lube, very important. Thank you for introducing us to this graphene wreck stuff. We can obviously buy this at your shop, which I don't know if anybody heard him in the beginning, but he obviously owns Velotopia. He certainly looks after all of my bikes, and I think at Club 100, he does look after quite a fair chunk of the riders there. You look after, I think, Nikki and Chantal and a whole bunch of other riders, mine and etc. So yeah, if anybody actually needs to want to boil their chains in wax, there you go. Okay, so let's start on to the next one. What else do we need?
No, so this is just more for like the home mechanics. So a lot of times you get a call and say my gear's don't work.
Okay, wait, I'm not saying. Let's go back. Let's play some scenarios out maybe before we started the home mechanic stuff. 3 tools I need when I go out on a Saturday ride. I'm going to go ride at Asiglale. What do I carry with me? We're saying, cool, we need a multi-tool, must have, chain breaker with the spare links, and tube, and inflating one of the two. If you have, but I would say it's a combination, right? So multi-tool, chain breaker, and either a tube / inflating /
What's your plugs?
And
it's
plugs. So they would be like a combo, like you like stick it together. So that's those 3 things. Okay, cool. I am going to Sani to see, or Bergenbush, or Pioneer, or definitely not Adequate. That's not way above my but above my weight category, literally. Maybe under, because everybody there is skinny. But what do I take on a ride like that? Because that is a little bit more. And I'm not saying we'll like pack the whole kitchen sink, but I mean on that day you sure want to make. You're going to be standing in the middle of the day. Usually they got really good support, so that's quite lekker. I'll throw Bergenbush out there. The club was there last year. We had an absolute jaw. And one of the stations on day 2, actually, like as you roll in, there was like little kids running around with lube and everything else. But on the longer kind of Sagos kind of stuff, what should I be packing in my bag when I head off to that? Because I'm seeing some hangers and some weird stuff down there as well.
So then I would obviously then the scenario changes slightly. So then I'll start looking at, you need to be able to be sufficient that if you get to a tech station, they can feed your bike. So what I would suggest is, what's particular to your bike, like your hammer, especially with your custom.
You want a hammer?
No, please no hammers. With your red derailleur hanger. So
okay, fair enough. Okay.
Definitely one of those.
And that'll be obviously kind of like the bike specific, so it would be like Shimano or...
Yes.
Okay.
So that's something I would suggest even riding within your tummy bag. It might not be limited to that event, but it's so small. If you got it, keep it on your bike. Because that can literally happen. Somebody should be a stop at the coffee shop.
So hang on, tummy bag is kind of like, is this a thing you can see? So I've got a vehement dislike of those things. It reminds me of those oaks driving around in Pretoria with those like dangly blue ball things.
And Velotopia your Cycling.
So kind of just put it in your bag that you carry.
Oh, you got one of those man purses?
Yeah, like a man bag. Yeah. So
Sure,
everybody's
sure.
called out, oh, like yeah, the purse. Yes, I do, and I am very happy with my purse. But yeah, so that's you basically just like a saddle bag, stick it under there, they would fit basically everything in the kitchen sink effectively.
But then also, like, you can start looking maybe things. Everything that we discussed will be obviously a good combination to take with, but then you might look at something like gaiters. So if you do get a nasty cut in the tire, something you can put on the inside. Can you get a mushroom plug? I fucking hate them because I never get them.
And what is a mushroom plug? Talk to us.
So they actually use them in the motor industry more than anything else.
Yeah.
So it's got a big flat surface with like this little pin, so it actually goes in from the inside out.
Yeah.
But I'm yet to successfully put a mushroom plug in a tire, but I know everybody else says it works very nice.
What does it look like? Describe it, mushroom.
It's actually like the name says. It looks like it looks like a patch.
Yeah.
It's still like a needle hanging from it with a rubber end to it.
Okay.
So the rubber section goes through the tire and you cut it off on that side.
Okay, fair enough. Okay.
I think we've discussed obviously, so a lot of times with signing that you'll pack a bin.
Yeah.
So then other events I'll give you a list of stuff you can actually take with, but then for that I'll suggest maybe extra chain links, take an extra set, boring a set you've got your bike already, hanger, possibly a rear rider, especially if you ride like electronic systems.
Okay.
Definitely some brake pads, because one day in the rain you can go through a set of brake pads if the weather is very bad.
Yeah.
What else is there?
I don't know. Tell me. I've got no idea. What else do we need?
Those are the most important items if you go to a stage event.
Stage. Okay. Now, let's go think about it. What else do we need? What is that little thing that you have down there?
It's just something I brought with just in case.
What is it?
So at our age.
Our age, yeah? Like, please, our age. Hey, talk about it. Talk to me.
So what is cool about this? Actually, a little tool you put on your stem.
Yeah.
Sometimes you get a phone call like, did you have your glasses on today? I'm not really serious about my bike. So sometimes I have to put this, sorry, I'll let you know. So it's actually a little laser. So it sits on your stem.
Yeah.
And then that shows you exactly where the middle of the wheel is. And you're actually using your stem to tighten your stem once it's straightened out.
Yeah, now you just get way too fancy. This is like way over the top, right?
If you need it, the older you get, more tools.
Okay, that is true. And there's other like huge, enormous.
So that's just if we touch on our mechanics.
Okay,
but,
let's go. What is it?
So I'm back to my gear setting story.
Okay.
So when someone says the gears don't work properly, there's a few things that we always check straight away.
Yeah.
Let's start with make sure your rear wheel started, please. Make sure your rear radar started. But a lot of times actually something really as simple as a hang alignment that is out.
Yeah.
This tool just screws onto the frame once you remove the rear radar. It's got a pin. This might be something easy to explain on the bike. It's got a pin that's on your bike that rotates, and as long as that remains equidistant from the rim, you'll know that the radar is straight.
Yeah, I'll send my bicycle to you for this. I'm not
the
doing
distance varies, you know it's bent, and that's probably the biggest reason that your gears might be out.
Okay.
Simple thing.
Man, it sounds like a Shaun problem.
But you'll be surprised how many of these we actually sell for all the home mechanics that watch YouTube and then they go fix them.
Yeah, no, that's not me. I usually just tend to get you in and do something on YouTube and then send my bike to you anyway. Okay, thinking about it, we've got a multi-tool.
Yeah.
We have got chain breaker thingy for jigs. And we've got the links, spare links in here.
Yes.
How do you usually buy these things out of curiosity again? Like, would it come in a pack?
Yeah,
I know we spoke about obviously 10, 11, 12 and the speed links, etc. So they would usually come in a pack.
Yeah,
as a tool, basically, do you buy just that separately or would you usually buy it as a...
So the tool and the links come separately,
Okay.
different chain links, yeah.
and this is called Wolf Tooth. And by the way, nobody sponsors us for any of this stuff, just for the record. This is just all our own opinions on these things, okay? It does look cool, it's quite nifty. And it's very light for the people who cares about things that needs to be light. So, okay, cool. And then obviously, pump, your little cartridge, your CO2 cartridge, and the nozzle, and a tube. Okay, and that's really it, you say?
For the average rider, if they need more than that, they probably don't need a mechanic as well to fit it for them. So yeah, that should be able to get you home in most cases.
Okay. So let's just go back to the multi-tool for a quick couple of seconds. Because all too often I have seen people arriving, they pull out this little, and they have no idea what to do with any of that stuff in there. So if you have to go, what is kind of like, when people go out and go look for a multi-tool, because that is obviously the fancy, the Cannondale version, which nobody really cares about that other than people that ride Lefties. The rest of us ride real bikes. What are we looking for when we kind of go for a multi-tool?
So I would say you should be able to at least start and loosen anything on your bike with that multi-tool, and it must have a chain brake.
Okay, hang on. When you say tighten and loosen, what are you talking about, like Allen keys or what?
I would go and check on my bike every nut and bolt, barring the cranks.
Yeah.
It's normally a variation of 3, 4, 5, 6, a T25, maybe a T30 basically.
Okay.
So most of the slightly bigger multi-tools will have all those parts already. Like the Scott spots, what's nice about them is they've actually got a T and a 6 unit in their little tire, in their little wheel tightness in any case.
Yeah.
So you should be able to tighten and loosen anything with that multi-tool on your bike.
Okay.
If you got that multi-tool, then the multi-tool side is sorted. Chain brake, for what's nice about this, the chain brake is actually part of the multi-tool.
Okay.
Because obviously the toe bag's only that big. The bigger you make it, the bigger the chance of it tearing or being damaged and lost.
So somewhere over there, I've got quite a nice little pouch that I found in a store. And what unfortunately happens, I don't think anybody really brings out you almost got to go bits and pieces and put your own little kit together, what works for you. And obviously it's about what kind of bike I ride or you ride, etc. And you guys ride, girls, everybody. So speed links on the multi-tool, most of the time, is there a specific brand that you would suggest that is really good? Because I found some of the stuff that you walk in the store and you go buy something and it's absolute rubbish. So is there anything that you can kind of say, this is kind of a really good tool, this is a rubbish tool?
I think that's probably a little bit unfair because, like I say, the specialized tools are nice that come out with the bikes. The Cannondale tool, I know nobody likes Cannondale, nobody likes Cannondale, whatever the hell you just said, which I completely disagree with.
Of course you will. Okay.
Made a very nice multi-tool for that bike.
Yeah.
The Scott Synchros kit is amazing. It's like your flat part, like that's if I have to guess, and it's got pretty much anything and everything on there that you're really going to need and decent quality. My only advice would really be is lighter is better, but also maneuverability becomes quite important. So a lot of times you buy these amazing flat multi-tools, but you can't get anywhere. Like you want to do something on the saddle, you almost want to break the thing off because you can't get the Allen key.
You don't want to Allen key out.
I was so fat to this but once again, buy the better quality tool. I mean, like how often do you buy multi-tools and you should use the better thing?
Exactly.
And like I said, for Evan's sake, always check the bolts on the multi-tools. There's nothing worse when you need it, you pull it open and you see like pieces flying all over the place.
Okay. So I have seen Oaks actually oiling not necessarily like proper oil, but they literally would like spray some Q20 and they just to kind of like.
I should
have
done it. They probably would have rusted in the face.
But and that's the reason why, because the tools do rust, and it's like even though we live in Joburg and we like a couple of 100 kilometers away from the ocean, stuff rusts. So a bit of a squirt of a Q20 and they would kind of go a long way.
So when you wash the bike, you leave it in there. You don't unpack your whole dummy bag and let it air out and then clean it, grease and lube or whatever, put it all back together again.
I don't know who actually like really genuinely takes that little saddlebag off. Like nobody. Like, and if you do, you're probably just kidding yourself.
It's probably the guy that got like 200 rand stuck in there. That's about the only guy that I ever see take his dummy bag off before he brings it for service when he gets home.
That's fair enough. That would certainly not be me because I use 10 rand notes. Okay, so multi-tool, rather go for kind of a high quality thing. So we're going to go through the 3 things that we want. Multi-tool, make sure there's a chain breaker in there, critical, oil it up, otherwise the thing rusts to pieces. And then I think lastly is obviously second last is getting the speed links in, and this linky tool majiggy. Okay. And I think the other thing that you kind of mentioned was if you're on tubeless tires, plugs, little plug kit, and those are. And I want to spend like 2 seconds on those little kits because you get these little kind of like orange little boxy things, and maybe I should just go dig one out. You got one. There we go. Actually, so they usually come with glue, right?
We uses the glue.
No, I'm asking because it comes with the glue. I can say that I always shove the glue just like all over the little thing before I shove it in there. I actually genuinely don't know what is the purpose of the glue. What's the purpose of the glue?
So
Supposedly.
But these are so flippin' sticky already. The problem with the glue, I always use the glue. Like a lot of the time, a lot of the stuff goes in my back pocket and in case. So now,
Okay.
I come home and there's glue all over my shorts. I'm going to be
Yeah.
pissed. So it's very simple. So you get 2 different sides.
Yeah.
Get 2 different size plugs, obviously. You get a slightly thicker one. Obviously, once you push it in, it actually folds over itself and doubles.
Okay. So this obviously when you have a ginormous big piece of like screws or something weird that went to your tire. Okay.
It's a smaller one, it's probably the one you're going to use the most in any case.
Cool. It's quite funny because this is actually a little kit that I bought the other day.
Just a little applicator, that's it.
Yeah.
Simple applicator.
Okay, so genuinely you say you don't really need the glue.
I've never ridden with glue, I must say.
Okay.
It's one of the first things I had to introduce. It's about the same when you get that little applicator where you can actually clean the whole with first.
Yeah.
Unless it goes in the handlebar, I don't even ride with that.
Okay. And this little yellow thing down here does absolutely nothing. This will coolness, right? Okay, fair enough. Okay. And obviously I think one of the things is like sometimes, and especially let's call it the more old school ones, there was usually the like little plastic see-through ones. And I think this maybe comes from the car fixing tire days, where you had that little. Yeah, no, I wanted to go with the, almost said the fail. What is a fail in English?
The file,
A file, there we go. So a file where you like kind of like just stuck it in there. I always just felt like, geez, we're not making this whole bigger than it already is. So, anyways. But yeah, basically, so you kind of like just hook it through there so it like dangles on both sides, and then just force it into the gap. So it pops in and then just pull it out. Okay, cool. So you heard it from Lefty, like leave the glue at home, it's waste your time and money. Thank you. I'll spend $50 on glue, like football. Okay, so plugs. If you are on tubeless tires, and if you're not on tubeless tires, question yourself while you're riding. I think unless you're doing a very certain discipline, I always ask quite a question: who does some of the when you do jumps and freestyle riding? The guys tend to do tubes, if I'm not mistaken. So that's a bit of a weird thing. I don't always understand that. Well, I do understand that. And why? Because I try to do it on my bike, and I sometimes get home with flat tires. So I do realize why, because I do, on the impact, you lose that. Okay, but if you have tubes, always take a spare tube with you. So even if you do have
a tubeless
system, carry a tube. Can I take my old road bike tube?
You'll be surprised when you can make a tube be on the side of the road.
Really?
I prefer if you take the great size tube.
I'm just saying, because I mean, like a mountain bike tube is this big and it feels like it weighs about 4.5 kilograms.
So you actually get, there are different brands that actually make, it's more like a plastic type tube for like a description, tubulito.
Tubolitos, that's what it's called. Yeah, I was going to say.
So I mean that rolls up very small. You get SL version that's I'm a specialized like Victoria's also brought one out.
Okay.
So there are smaller versions you can roll up nice and tight.
Okay, cool.
I mean like those specialized shot boxes you can pretty much put a whole kit and one of those SL tubes in there in that whole little shot box.
Okay.
I hadn't thought about this before.
Okay, so we need that, and then lastly we obviously need the little pump and a CO2 cartridge.
Yeah.
And that would be
What's that take about 4?
4 on every ride. Yeah. That is about 8 kilos. I mean, like seriously, because I'm going to go scuba diving. Yeah, okay, come on, are you calling me fat now? So, okay, I think 4 is excessive, but that's just me. So why would you need 4? I mean, I'm asking. It's like, so how many does it take to inflate one tire?
Yourself. Maybe there's someone else.
Okay, fair enough. But I mean, like 3. How many would you need to inflate one tire to? Like, how many PSI would you like?
So if you got the bigger ones, just take one bomb. It should be fine. But
there's bigger bombs.
Yeah,
and smaller
different sizes.
Okay.
But I would still say 4 just sounds good. You can put it on your bike. I mean,
I don't like putting stuff in my bike.
In your pockets.
Because then it's like it makes a noise and it rattles and everything else, and that's the reason why.
You take 2.
Okay, fine.
Okay, I'm going to stop.
Okay, so 3 would be apparently a good number to take, but apparently 4 is better because we've got to help other people. I got to say, I think I've given away more bombs than kind of anything else and actually using myself. So yeah, okay. Multi-tool, chain breaker, and obviously puncture kit effectively. Okay, and if you can, take a tube with you. And I think in the puncture kit is assumed or accepted that you will have a CO2 or a little hand pump.
Yeah.
What's your opinion of these little, you're on YouTube everywhere and kind of like on the Instagram ads, you'll see these fancy little electric inflator things. Have you actually seen one of them played with it?
Not really. There's one that I fiddled with, but I don't know the brand or anything yet. It does tickle me a little bit though, because obviously tire pressure on the tubeless, it becomes more important. Like if you're on your tires going with 1.6 and out of 1.8, you can actually feel it. So
okay.
I do think the accuracy is quite relevant.
Okay. So talking about tire pressures, let's go dwell on that for a second. I weigh, I'm very light, I weigh like 65 kilos. I wish. So I weigh quite a lot, 115 odd kilos, 110 kilos, depending on what day of the week it is. But what should my tire pressure be? Because I'm bigger. Like it
depends what you're going to do, where you're going to ride, like different bike parts.
So let's assume we're going to go out to a gravel ride. I think is one thing. We'll get into a gravel ride shortly. It's kind of like that. But I would say we're going to Asidlale or a Northern Farm or a PWC or a gravel ride, not a gravel ride, but a cradle ride for argument's sake, etc. Or a Taroko or a Volvo Spade, etc. What would be like the kind of standard tire pressure that you should be running?
So, depends on I'm sort of dancing around the question here in any case, but also once again, there's variables at play.
Okay.
So what tires have you got? Don't answer me, I'm just trying to
No, 100%.
Depends on the width of the tires you've got on there. So I would probably guess someone your weight, without having to smash it up every second weekend, somewhere between maybe 2.2 on the rear and a 2 on the front, give or take, depending on the tires, the wheels and that.
Yeah.
I know you get it wrong sometimes because I have been asked before what those new C6 rims cost, so I know. But something to play with as well.
So and it's quite interesting because I think there's a youth proponent out there too that really kind of runs lower tire pressures, like really low pressures. When I look at Dawn, she like literally runs like 1 point something because she weighs 0 point nothing. And a lot of kind of like the kind of racing snakes. But there's like that comfort factor, right? It's like that's kind of like there's a little bit of flex in that, etc. But obviously, with it being a bit heavier, you would tend to kind of put more air in there just to kind of like make up for it.
Yeah, I also think like some of us have no finesse. Like if we go down a drop off, we just fall down the drop off. Just close your eyes and hope we land up and the right way up at the bottom. I would say probably more skilled riders can afford to run a much lower pressure because they land a bit more. A little bit more softer, a little bit more technique in that. And ultimately, it's easy to say let's run 1.2 if you're a sponsored driver. Like if you smash your so you can have another wheel. When you start paying for your own wheels, then obviously
That's a different kettle of fish. Then you're like, oh, too badly, so.
yeah.
Okay, no, fair enough. Okay. Lefty, I think we can really wrap it up and kind of like put a pin in this. Otherwise, we'll be here all night talking shit.
Where's the beer?
I'm pretty sure I did say beer, and I promise I'll get you a beer next time. It might be a little bit more, and I'll put it on this lovely top. But I think we should have another session. If there's some comments out there about to everybody about another conversation that should be had, what else should we be talking about? Put it in the comments. What other things do you want to hear? We'll invite Lefty back certainly, and maybe kind of just maybe have a what's the word I'm looking for? Maybe do it like on a monthly basis. So give us the topics, put it in the comments somewhere, and you can comment somewhere down there, etc. So hit us up with a comment, tell us what you want to hear, send us a WhatsApp message, and yeah, thank you to all the Club 100 riders who's having beers at the somewhere and watching this on YouTube. Thank you for everybody else that's on the Lefty side. I think Lefty, thanks for joining. I look forward to doing this again with you. And if anybody needs their bike service, Velotopia, look them up on Instagram, man with a beard, well-groomed beard, the pink brand, you can't miss it if you're on Instagram. And yeah, I think thank you for the insights. We'll definitely dive into this. And next time you ride, remember, you need a multi-tool, you need a chain breaker, and you need your tire fixing kit, including your little pump or your CO2 gas units. Most important things. Those three things are what you need. Okay. Lefty, thank you very much. Yeah. See you guys. We'll let everybody know if there's another chat about this. And have a nice day. And I'm going to switch it off. Thank you. Thank you, Lefty. Appreciate it. And we will do this again.